Today we're speaking with Bridget Moriarty, and Bridget is the director of the Mackinac Horsemen's Association, which I'm really excited to talk to her about this because I was just in Mackinac not too long ago, and she is also working at the Mackinac Community Equestrian Center that's on Mackinac Island. And it was just a real pleasure to come and see this sweet barn, and just so pretty with the horses right in the center of it seems like it's probably not the center, but on the island. And it's just so beautiful and peaceful there. And you do so many things there, Bridget. I was just so impressed by it. So tell me a little bit about let me ask you this first of all, how did you get involved with horses to start?
So as for every horse girl there is, it starts real early. And I begged and begged and begged my parents to let me ride horses. And they finally did in third grade. And I started taking like monthly lessons. And then that slowly grew into weekly. And when I was in sixth grade, I got to join my local IEA team. And that was a huge thing for me. And I could actually sit on horses, and I got to compete, and I got to do the things. And then I ended up getting really bored of hunters. And I was like, this isn't my thing. I want a 3-phase event. I really want a 3-phase event. And my parents are like, no, that's too dangerous. You're not allowed to do it. That's horrible.
Solid jumps,
Stick
no
with
way.
the hunters. And then I moved barns to this sweet old lady, straight from England kind of lady. So did all the old-fashioned British way, classical eventing, and I just never left her barn. Any chance I got, I was at the barn doing chores, sitting on random horses, doing everything and anything I could possibly do.
Can you still hear her talking to you? Can you still hear her saying things to you?
Oh, yes.
Is there anything you remember that she said that stands out that she said to you?
She's in my head.
Is she? Yep. Is there anything you remember that stands out that she said with your training?
Yeah. So at the moment, we've got a pony who's being a little naughty when she's going up to fences.
Okay.
And she very much likes to run out when you don't ride her through.
Uh-huh.
And every time a kid lets her run out, in the back of my head, I hear her screaming, "Pilot error!" I could not get it out of my head.
Pilot error.
That's a good one.
It's cute. Bless her heart. Aw. So you had some really good basic English training from somebody that was a good old sage. We'll just put it that way. A good rider. So that's good. So so how did it end up that you ended up on Mackinac then?
Yeah, so I was in college with a horse and paying my bills and not succeeding financially. And my mom was like, well, there's this place in Michigan. I'm from upstate New York. And there's this place in Michigan where you can go and drive carriages. And I've been told that you can make a lot of really fast money off of your tips. So I came here and I drove carriages, which is absolutely wild if you've been riding horses all your life. And did that for 2 seasons.
Wow.
And eventually found my way over to the equestrian center, just riding people's horses because I couldn't not ride. So I started with a Greenbroke pony, very Greenbroke pony. That was a friend of mine who was like, hey, I need someone to sit on this thing. So, I was the first one to put my hand up and went over to the equestrian center and started riding it in all of my glorious free time that I had in the summer. And I just couldn't keep driving. And I was like, I love this too much. I love my sport too much. So I started working here.
So the driving, just to talk about that, I will say this. Have you been to Mackinac before?
I've not, no.
So there's the outskirts, there's where the ferries come in. It's really, really awesome because it's all just either horses or non-motorized vehicles, bikes.
Yeah, I did know that part
Did you know
about
that?
it, is that there's like, since like, what is it, like, I feel like I
crazy.
remember in 1863 or something, there's been like no cars allowed there.
Nothing. They
Other
don't
than
have
like
anything
emergency
for us.
vehicles. So I did know that part, that there's the only ways to get around are walking, biking, and carriages.
So the area where the ferries come in, then all the people come in off of the ferry, and that's kind of a congested area. And the little town, the city, you can probably tell this better than I can, is kind of right there when you get off to the left, and it's very congested. But everything that is done there is, whether it's a taxi, whether it's going to the hotels, whatever it is either through, like right there, a bike porter or horses to get to where you need to go. That area is so congested. There's so many bikes there. I don't know how you did that with like the driving. I mean, I'm sure you have stories from that even. That was kind of crazy, you know?
Yes, you.
Yes. Yeah. And then you go, the island is just gorgeous and the Grand Hotel is there. And then you sit, so you found yourself at the Horse Center. And where does the Horse Center actually kind of sit? I mean, is it in towards where is it actually?
Yeah, so it's mostly in the middle, I'd call it. It's right next to the airport and across the street from the Wawashkamo Golf Course.
Okay.
So we're pretty much smack in the middle.
Okay. And it's just so sweet. How did that come about? How did the Equestrian Center come about?
So the Horsemen's Association started in 1998, and that was just a group of people on the island who said, hey, we need to get our younger generation to be more horsemen, because this is not, where we wanted to go. We are surrounded by all of these horses, and our younger generation does not know how to properly take care of themselves or the horses. So we need to teach that. And they started down at the Little Barn. Well, what used to be the old Little Barn, that sat downtown. It was a very, very small, I would say, like 8-stall kind of setup with a small paddock attached to it. They had to ride up the hill to Turtle Park, which is about a mile and a half, to be able to get to the arena. So as they started to grow, they realized that this isn't functional. If we're going to have a proper riding school, this is not cutting it. So in 2011, they started building the Community Equestrian Center, which sits here. And that was all powered by Steve Erlinge, who is still our president, and Leanne Broder. And they were the big people who really advocated we need to have a proper riding school with a proper barn, an arena that we can safely get to conveniently. And that started that whole process.
And some of your hills there are big hills. So, I mean, going up and down the hills with the horses and and let alone carriages.
Well, it's just a warm up before you go ride.
Oh, there are hills. I mean, those hills are crazy. But anyway, so that was more conveniently located, and it's darling. You have there's the front area. Can you tell about the barn itself, and then how it's set up? There's your entranceway, and then like a little museum almost in the front, to me. But then it goes on through. What do you have there?
Yeah. So whoever designed the barn, which I met the architect once and I cannot remember his name. I could not find it for the life of me. So I'm so sorry to that person. But the architect was very smart in the design of very much in capturing tourists coming down the hill, because we are a tourist island, really bringing them down. And in the front entrance is our office. And then we start the side of the museum. So we do have the Museum of the Horse that is located at our facility. It is a pile of different photographs from history. A lot of islanders came up and said, hey, we've got these cool photos. So that's all over the front wall, which is really cool to look back at what some people used to ride their horses in, which is sometimes you watch them, you're like, that's wild.
I know. The long dresses.
What different things used to look like. Yeah. There's some really cool moments. Yeah. There's a picture of 2 kids jumping those little airport, I'm not sure what they're used for, but they're little stands. They look like coops.
Okay, coops.
But they're huge. They're like 3.5, 4 foot tall, huge things. They're just popping over them. And I'm like, okay, how
So
island
cute.
kids are.
So sweet.
And then we go into the main barn. We have an education center there, which we can host all kinds of different events. We do try to keep
Sweet.
that very agriculture or horse related, but we can host a fair number of events there. And then to the left, we have our short-term boarder side. So anyone who is visiting and wants to bring their own horse with them can.
Yes.
We have 5 stalls that are just designated to those people.
Yes.
So you can come for one night, you can come for a week, for a month, anything like that. That's a really cool opportunity that we have and no one else has.
Yes.
And then we also have some antique carriages that are sitting back there. So most of these carriages, no, I'm going to rephrase that. All of these carriages have been on the island and were working at one point. Most of them are still in working condition.
Beautiful.
But I'm too scared to take them out on the road.
They're beautiful.
Because I can never find the parts again if they broke.
This podcast is brought to you by Ram Fence and Stalls, the one-stop shop for your horse farm. Ram is family-owned and operated and been in business for over 30 years. We welcome you to call in and speak with an expert about your next project today at 866-653-8984. Again, that's 866-653-8984.
I have to say this too. Your barn is just so inviting, and it's a step back in time when you go to Mackinac. But the barn floor is wood, and so when the horses come in, and it's such a solid wood, it's like clunk, 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 and it just feels so good. It just feels so warm and inviting. It's just such a. The horses are happy there, I think too. It just seems like a happy barn. But what's so nice about it is the islanders come. And then also you do offer this availability for people to come, bring their horses, put them on a ferry, come across over to the island and come and stay there and ride on Mackinac, which is such a cool thing. The island is just so quaint and beautiful, which is amazing. So how many stalls you have? 5, you said, for people to come and stay?
5.
Okay. All right.
Yep, a total of 5. And we have been able to make different things work. So we offer group rides, and we do that 4 times a year, where you can come as a group, and it's a very, I would say, catered event where we set up the boat for you, we bring you over, we guide you through all of that, and then we take you on all of the guided rides. So anytime you go out, you're going to have somebody with you. It's a lot of fun. Honestly, I think of it like summer camp for adults. Like, it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. We go out. We have so much fun.
Good time.
And for that, I fill up my whole barn, which is 13 stalls.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
And so obviously if someone wants to bring their horse, they probably need to know they have to have a horse that is going to go on a ferry. You are there when they arrive, correct, to help to get them to the barn. And I mean, just how wonderful it is that you have such hands-on with the people that come to help them, to make it easy for them to do. Because I had just said, oh, that's my bucket list thing. I'd love to do that, but I'd be like nervous about it, right?
Yeah, I'm interested in kind of like the nitty gritty of it. Like, obviously, like the horse has to get on the ferry and you have to like book a ticket for that. But then what else is involved with that? Yeah. Like, are there like restrictions in some way of like or things like that? You know what I mean? Like the more the business side of that.
Yes, there are restrictions. Keeping in mind that we have, just thought of this number. It's somewhere around 400, 500 working horses on the island between carriage tours, Goff, Cindy's riding stable, Jack's livery, and my own barn. That's the rough number of horses that work on the island every year. And then we're not even talking the private horses. So there are a lot of horses that we are responsible for in a very, very small island. And that is a great way to spread diseases.
Yeah, I was thinking
so we do have to be, we have to be very careful. So there are a number of vaccinations that we require you have before coming that aren't always required everywhere else. Strangles is a really big one. And then as well as our tetanus and rabies. We really make sure that you have those. And that's something that we kind of go over as staff before you make your arrangements. kind of make your booking, and then we say, hey, reminder, I need all of these documents to come in at this time. So that's more of that business side of things. And then for the protection of our other horses that are working, and keeping in mind these are really big draft horses that have absolutely gone through stone walls at points in time. They don't care. When something bothers those horses, it really bothers them. Yeah. So that being said, miniature horses, donkeys, and stallions are not allowed on the island. And so we do have breed restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like a metropolis of horses, though it really is. And they're so cute. They all have their little personalities and jobs and things that they're doing all day long. It's exciting. So on top of that, then, you have for the islanders, or I don't know if it's other people, like events that go on, like almost like all the time. So you make it not only educational but fun. So what type of events do you do there as well then for people that, are they just islanders, or the people that come too, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the events are open to anyone who wants to come. The number of horses that I lease out is fairly restricted, so I do have rules on that. Like, you do have to be part of my school group of some sort. I have to see you ride a few times. My limit is usually 10 lessons. I need to consistently see you ride or see your previous riding experience. So I'm not throwing my horses away to, someone who walks through the door and not give my kids a chance to ride.
Right.
But past that, anyone is welcome to come to these events. They're mostly islanders. And we try to do pretty much doing about 3 times a week. I've got something going on between, like, a jumper night is super fun. Starts at 6 p.m. We usually wrap up around 8. We play for money because we can, with $10 to throw in the pot, and the winner gets 80%. But sometimes we get really, really competitive about that $10.
Yeah.
We've got speed in action night, which is running barrels and doing the flag race, which is super fun.
So cute.
And then we have a show series, and we run that once a month. And those are more of my real shows, I call them. And you have to be in proper attire, and your horses have to be show groomed. And then we have a number of clinics that we also host. So we bring in a clinician for that. Just anything that we can possibly do to curate that developing equestrian truly in the sport.
Cool. I'm interested. So, like, going off of what you've all said, and then your passion for 3-day eventing, how does, like, outside of the shows that you're hosting on the island, do you in specific, or any of your students, have like a broader show season? Like, do you guys go off the island too, or is everything you do kind of centralized there?
It's really hard to get off island. So my kids don't really go off island. We are kind of pushing at them this year that some of us need to be going off island in the winter and show. That's kind of the bigger push right now. And then for myself, to keep myself sane, I try to go to one event a year, and I'll go off island. I'll pack the horses up, and we go off for a weekend once a year.
Wow.
Scratch the itch.
Yeah. Very much so.
There's so much contained right where you are, and it's so, I don't know, it's so sweet and so much fun there, though, too. I can see how it'd be easy to just stay put there, too. You have out the back of your barn, then, several pastures and a little show or a work ring. Is that right, then, in the back?
Yep. So we've got a 100 by 200 arena, and then we have 8 paddocks. I had to count that quickly. So I do try to keep my horses out as much as possible. They are all dry lots, so it is tough, but I really advocate in fresh air, go walk around, go be a horse, go get muddy, do all the horsey things.
Yeah. Do you see a change in the horses that come once they come there and they do get to, like even your guests that come, the horses get a little used to, we're going to go out, we're going to walk around and see the sights, and because there's woods, there's the neighborhood areas, though, I mean, there's the water, there's a lot to be able to see when you're, there. It's pretty versatile, but do you see like the horses kind of calm down, or just a calming, or that they are happy, to do their little jobs and go and see everything? Because it's pretty there.
It is beautiful. That is my big job in the spring. So when horses first start showing up in May, that's when I start pushing that everybody's doing hill work, everyone's seeing everything. And they really do get over it. I try to take 1 or 2 horses as kind of my guide horse, and then I either pony if they really can't handle it until they get over it. But most of the time I just go in a group of a couple of people, and, the nervous one stays in the back, and we got to check everything out, go follow a dray for a couple miles. And they really do get used to it.
That's cute.
And then a lot of times when my horses finish a workout, if it's an advanced kid that I've been having for a while, or myself, we go walk around a little bit for 10 minutes after our workout, and they just get to stretch their legs, and everyone perks up when we go up the driveway. They get a little excited and their legs stretch out a little bit more. And I think they really enjoy it.
I think they do too. Do you require shoes, or do they go barefoot, or do you just do shoes mainly? I know that all the working horses have shoes, of course. Mm-hmm.
Most all of my horses are shod all the way around.
Okay.
We have the occasional horse or two that will just have fronts on, but everybody in some standard needs to have shoes. Our ground gets really dry and really dense in the middle of the summer, and their feet just fall apart in that.
Understood.
Kind of bouncing off of that, what is the situation for like farriers or like vets and stuff? Do you have people that are there, or do you have to have them ferry over, or I guess if in an emergency situation, how does that work?
So emergency situations, we don't always have a lot. We do have a vet who's on rotation at all times for the island, but we don't always have a lot of accessibility. Like, we have one x-ray machine that is very, very old. So we can't even do blood work up here. We can't do ultrasounds. We can tube a horse in the most crude sense, but we can't do anything past that. So if a true emergency would happen, even if you need to run an IV bag, we have to take our horses off. I often find myself taking them to Saginaw. That is the closest emergency clinic near me, and they've always been really great to work with. And I usually call them when I'm on the road. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be there in a couple hours. And
oh, wow.
They've always been really great to work with.
Aww.
And then our farrier, we actually bring up from downstate, Isaac Connolly. He's been doing a fantastic job on our horses. So he comes up every 6 weeks, gets everybody done. And knock on wood, we've only had one shoe come off all season. And when an emergency happens really like that, I can go over to the farriers that work for carriage stores and beg, plead, hand them a few beers, and they'll tack on a shoe for me.
That's cute. That's cute.
That's good. You've got the infrastructure there when you need it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can walk past the farrier. I don't know what the name of the company is, but I mean, you can look right in. They're working away, just doing
the big draft shoes.
It's really just neat to see, because it's just such a working island. I mean, the horses that work around the island, I mean, everything is done, whether it's Amazon, whether it's all the food, whether it's the trucks for like the garbage trash trucks, or I mean, it's all done by horse and buggy, or horse and help me here, wagon, whatever the case may be. It's just amazing, because cool. It's all working with, everything comes in that way. It's amazing to see. So, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about what you do there, or to people who would be maybe interested in coming, that would be, good information for people?
Yeah, definitely. If you are interested in coming to the island, especially to bring your own horse, do your research. Find other people who've done it before. Give us a call and say, hey, what should I bring?
Mm-hmm.
I find many people overpack or underpack.
Yeah.
So being able to go off the experience that someone else had and be able to create it your own, that's huge. If you're thinking of bringing your own horse, come up in person first. Mm-hmm. Actually experience how it works. Mm-hmm. Notice all the things that's going to make your horse spook, because there are a million of them.
Yeah.
And if you can at least get your horses used to bikes, that's going to be a huge, huge bonus for you.
Yeah.
As a tourist coming, maybe you want to ride a horse, take a lesson, call us ahead of time. We either book out a week in advance, or I have all of the openings in my book, but they change very, very inconsistently. So give us a call ahead of time, plan that out. And always bring your jacket. You never know what the weather's going to turn out to be.
Very true.
It can be 90 and beautiful and sunny when you show up, and it's going to be 65 and rainy by the end of the day. So bring your jacket.
Definitely. Well, I didn't even know that you were located there. Actually, I went with my daughter, Mindy, and her fiance, Eric, and they had seen the horse center, and they said, hey, we got to take you to this really cool place. You're not going to believe it. So we hop on our bikes, we ride up to the horse center, and it was so neat because Campbell was there that day, and she had been out back, and she walked in with one of the horses, and we were like oohing and eyeing in the front because no one was there. We just walked in, and it was just so cool. Here's the museum, and here's the barn itself. It was just, it's open. Like, you can go, you can ride your bike, you can get there, and it was just amazing to see you there. We were really excited, and it was fun to be there. One thing I would say, definitely horses need to probably be good around bikes for certain. The bikes can go right past, but it was really wonderful to find you there. So, okay. All right. Well, we'll be taking I'll start again. We'll be taking a short break, and when we get back, we'll enter our next segment, Canter Banter.
Do you have horses and live the equestrian lifestyle? Be sure to check out our blog at yourhorsefarm.com. Yourhorsefarm.com is a great equine online resource, so be sure to share with all the horse lovers in your life. And remember, laugh much and ride often.
All right, and we're back, and now this is our Canter Banter segment. And so, Bridget, tell us, give us a good story, something that we can end up with a good smile on our faces.
So this is probably the most Mackinac story that I have. And my husband and I met on Mackinac driving carriages. So, of course, when we're both living here, he has to propose to me on Mackinac. That was my one rule.
Okay.
I handed him the ring and said, I don't care when you do it, but it has to be on Mackinac.
I love it.
And my two horses were living here, which I still have. And, the day is kind of going, you know when it's going to happen. And I run into the house, and my coworker is in the house, and I was like, okay, so this is going to happen. Like, do I look good? Is there anything in my teeth? And she's like, no, you look great. Do you need any help? Run out to the barn. And the horse who never, ever, ever has had a foot problem in his life, never has pulled a shoe, never has done anything, has the shoe bent into his frog.
No. Oh, no. Bent right in.
And this is the horse who's been with me since I was 14. Like, he has to be here.
Oh, no.
So Michaela and I are trying to get a hold of our farrier. He's gone at a thing. We can't get a hold of him. We're trying to YouTube how to take a shoe out.
Oh, no.
We're not
running
able to function.
Around. Yeah.
We're using an actual hammer.
Oh, no.
The end of a hammer to pull it out because we don't have any tools.
Typical.
We eventually did get the shoe out. The horse was fine. We went on a trail ride. And going to we got engaged on Sunset Rock. which if you guys have been there, there's a cute little trail that you have to get through that's a little overgrown. And I had my feral pony, who's, I call him feral. He was feral at one point. We're now 6 months into training. So he has not been with me for very long. He's never been back here before. It's all super sketchy. And I was like, well, I'm not going to kill myself today. So I'm going to hand walk him through this. And then, nothing bad will happen to me. And when she guessed that he spooks himself, he darts forward and runs me over.
Oh, no, gosh. You're kidding me. No. Oh, my gosh, you poor thing. Were you okay?
It's fine.
She kidding me.
And I was like, okay, that happened. That's okay. We're going to calmly go get the pony. Everything's fine.
Oh, no.
And Aiden's kind of staring at me. He's like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this today. Maybe this is like a sign. I'm like, no. We're doing this today. Like, this is
we are doing this, right? We are doing this. Bless your heart. You got through it.
We finally make our way there. There's a friend of mine who's hiding in the bushes, who I didn't realize was there. She's like videoing and taking pictures the whole time.
Oh my.
Of course, my horses know they're there, but I just assume they're spooking at something stupid.
Oh no.
And we got up to the top of the rock. I'm holding both the horses, and for the first time in their lives, both of them are being absolute saints. They stood the whole time. They were so quiet while he got down on one knee. The best boys in the world. And despite Arlo coming home with a few bruises in his foot, I had a few bruises on my leg. We came home in one piece, and I really think like that's the most Mackinac moment.
And you were engaged. You were engaged, and you did it. There you go. You did it. I'm Mackinac. That is a Mackinac story. That really is. That's so cute. Well, bless your heart. Something to remember for sure, for certain. How cute. Aw. So cute. Well, Bridget, it's been so much fun to talk to you today. I just could not wait to talk to you. And thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it so much, and we'd love to have you come back again sometime, if you'd like to. But thank you for sharing all of the experiences, and we appreciate it and hope to do it again.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting us.
You.
We really appreciate this.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed our podcast and encourage you to share with all of your equestrian family and friends. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, as well as our YouTube channel, and stay up to date on all of our shows. Do you have a topic to discuss or a guest recommendation for our hosts? Email us at podcast@ramfence.com.